These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, December 9th. We're still in Vegas. This is our last full day there, our last night there, I should say. Day after the Celtics win over the New York Knicks. If you want our thoughts on that, go check out the channel. You can see our full thoughts on the game there. We're here for a full pod. It's weird. Like the Celtics schedule kind of like flips back and forth of, these 2 weeks, the game recaps are in the full pods, and then they're not because the days switch, and we're in the cycle of games not in the full pods, which for this week is actually making it easier because there's a little bit less editing on my end. But yeah, without further ado, let's pick a winner for Inpopnito, shall we? We get the wheel ready, get the wheel ramped up and ready to go.
A lot of knockoff expensive Impopnitos here in Las Vegas, all of them inferior.
Nothing like the real thing, but 5 entries today. Let's see who's winning themselves some really cool popcorn or a gift card to win some popcorn.
You want to comment on the videos, say what's poppin', get yourself in the drawing, because $10 will get you a free bag, and you can pick from over 60 things.
Nathan, Mulmy, you win some Impognito. We'll get in touch with you after we finish recording here and get your information through an email, and we'll get you your gift card. Congratulations, sir. Let's keep rolling here. Let's dive right into the first Celtics thing that we have today, which is Jaylen Brown discussing his ejection. So Jaylen Brown was ejected from the Knicks game last night. Sam and I were watching here in Vegas, and we kind of missed it, and that's because it happened in like 2 seconds. Jaylen Brown,
and there wasn't like a big thing that actually happened.
No, Jaylen Brown was upset at a call. He complained, went to the bench, then he kind of waved off the refs. He said, "No, you got it wrong." And then they ejected him. And he was very mad after the game. He spoke about it. He said, to be honest, I'm not sure when asked, why he was tossed, but I wish I got my money's worth. I always thought my first career ejection would be something a little more exciting, maybe a tussle or something. Guys get folded up, go to the ground, not some over-emotional ref who had a bad day. What I'm most upset about is I should have gotten my fucking money's worth. Lame. Very lame that he got ejected.
Very lame indeed. It was just a very soft ejection. We've seen a lot of those in the NBA this year. You've seen the referees get very defensive, especially over the last week or so. You saw just last night alone, Jamal Murray also ejected. Steve Kerr and Dagnall in the Thunder Warriors game, tossed, double ejection there. The referees need to be put into check. They really are not keeping a very respectable standard, because while you see all these guys getting tossed for nothing, you'll also see a video surface of, let's say, LeBron jumping around like a maniac because he didn't get a kicked ball violation. But Jaylen Brown gets tossed for a brief back and forth with the official, or Tatum claps at an official and gets a tech, or Tatum, what did he even do? Double back at the official last time when he got tossed?
Yeah.
It was nothing near as demonstrative as what we see some of these other players do. Yet it's still resulting in ejections. You're still seeing guys have to pay tremendous fines because they are violating or getting techs. It's all ridiculous. And after the game, Joe Mazzulla had some stuff to say along those lines as well. Jay King posted it on Twitter. Reads, Joe Mazzulla seemed to believe that Jaylen Brown getting his first tech for saying, quote unquote, weak ass shit was, in fact, weak-ass shit. I've been on the sidelines in the NBA for years, said Mazzulla. I've seen players act and say things that are way more disrespectful than that. Shout out to LeBron, who had a temper tantrum at the Garden last January and got absolutely nothing. Not even a tech. Wasn't ejected, but didn't even get a single tech. No tech at all.
Sorry, my dad just texted me in Providence seeing Bert Kreischer.
He's at the AMP tonight.
Yeah, I was texting him back. I'm jealous.
Is he going with Henry or any of the family?
No, I think he's going with Jen, his girlfriend.
Nice,
I believe. But yeah, sorry. So yeah, I mean, Joe Mazzulla, not wrong. Weak ass shit. Jaylen Brown didn't deserve to get ejected. What do you think it is this season? Like, do you think refs just like are clamping down more? Do you think they're just more emotional? Like, because it seems ridiculous this year. You mentioned Murray, Steve Kerr, and Dagnall, Mark Dagnall. Tatum got ejected. Kristaps has fucking 8 techs already in the year, and he's missed a certain amount of games. Like, I just don't get it, right? Like what is your thought process on why these guys are just getting the boot like every other game? It feels like.
I don't know. It's a strange trend. You heard before this season that they wanted to clap down on the flopping and hand out text for that. They haven't done that, but instead they have completely wrapped and put a stranglehold on player behavior, except there's no real like laid out threshold for how they're supposed to act or what's supposed to be a tech and what's not a tech. Like, I think the general understanding is if you wave off a call, it's a tech. But I don't know if waving off a call like this or whatever should be an ejection. I think that's really soft. And then there are things like Joe Mazzulla said that are far worse than what Jaylen did, and it's nothing, and it's allowed. I mean, even if you don't want to talk about LeBron, right? LeBron is just the easiest one because that's burned into my brain. And at the time, I couldn't believe it wasn't a technical. Draymond Green acts like a freak out there. He does what Jaylen did probably 5 or 6 times a game and gets nothing. And it's because his bar is so high for what is out of the ordinary for him to do that he's allowed to do more. So he's rewarded for having a poor track record and poor behavior. How is that fair to somebody like Jaylen, who traditionally is not a very vociferous person? He's not somebody that's going to demean the officials. He usually doesn't complain very much. Tatum's the complainer. Grant Williams was the complainer, not Jaylen. Yet Jaylen gets a really, really short leash. Why? What has he shown that's a high risk for him acting like that? You're not at risk for anything. If he's acting like that, he's probably right. Is that why it's cutting so deep? Is because you got somebody that's not usually someone to speak up about calls or complain or make a scene to do so? And you know you're really wrong? Is that it? Is it a defense mechanism? When LeBron does it, no, I mean, you just like, okay, it's another day. He's just upset. Or Draymond. Or Tatum. Any of them.
Should techs get taken back if it is revealed that the player was correct?
Yes. I think so. Yes.
I think it depends on the level of the tech. Like, I think Jaylen's tech, yes. If you're running up to the ref with a camera and being an asshole like that, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it depends on the level, but like Jaylen Brown going up and arguing the call for too long when he's right. And I don't know the call that he got teched up for, but like, I don't know. I'm not a fan with the way stuff's being officiated this season. I think Tatum historically has complained too much, and we've talked about it, but it feels like a lot of his techs this year have been weak too. I don't know.
He's gotten the weak tech for a while now. He was ejected, or he teched up for clapping last year. KD tweeted about it when it happened. He was like, that's the craziest tech I've ever seen. When you have somebody that's just watching a game as a viewer that's also in the league tweeting about your tech being bad, red flag for the officials. Very, very poor showing from them.
Yeah. I agree. I'm trying to think of like, why? Like, what sparked it this year? Because it truly does feel like it's worse this year than it has been in a while. And I don't really understand it. Sucks for Jaylen. And I mean, Tatum said the same thing when he got ejected. He goes, I wish I got my money's worth. I wish I complained more because I don't think I should have gotten ejected. Tatum goes, I wasn't that fucking mad. I don't know. Like, don't know what happened.
I wasn't mad. I swear.
Literally. Don't put it in the papers that I was mad. But next thing we got is Kristaps Porzingis, who certainly isn't mad that he is in Boston because, as Sam likes to say, he's the rescue puppy. Kristaps Porzingis.
Celtics gave him a loving home.
That they did.
He's no longer the malnourished dog, hoping that the owner will feed him, a.k.a. pass him the ball while he stands there. Shout out to Luka.
It's Kristaps' entire career is the Sarah McLachlan commercials with the in the arms of the
That'd be
angel.
terrible. Yeah, Kristaps has just been sitting there, sad puppy for the commercials. Now he's in like the dog food commercials where the dog's actually real happy because they're getting their treat.
Poor guy. He's back though. He's good. He's in a safe space. He's with the Celtics. He's hanging out. And he was on the JJ Redick podcast. We talked about him talking about his time in Dallas, his relationship with Luka and why it failed. This time around, he talked about why he chose the Celtics. Because yes, Kristaps was traded, but it was kind of like free agency for him because he could have just, declined an option. He could have signed somewhere, right? But it was like, let's get somewhere he likes. So Redick goes, my understanding is your exit from Washington was definitely a trade, but it was a little bit of free agency as well, where you had a couple of deals on the table and you would get traded and sign an extension. You took less money to come to Boston. What was it about this opportunity in Boston that made you want to do it? And this is what Kristaps said. I knew my game would fit well in with JB, JT, and the guys that were here. Also said, when asked about, there's more pressure here. Is that what you want? He goes, about playing in a big city is what he was asked. He goes, I got a taste of it when I was in New York. That was one of the biggest stages you can play on, and I enjoyed it so much. Honestly, it was more about being in a team where I could actually win. Winning is more important than about being in the biggest market. But if you can combine those two, then it's even better. And then, like I mentioned, about the pressure that is being put on him, he goes, that's what I wanted. I wanted the challenge. My last year in Dallas, the year before I got traded, I didn't have the best playoff series. We got kicked out in the first round. Now I'm like, okay, I have to prove to everybody that I can play on a playoff team or a championship caliber team and remind everybody that can happen. Here I am. Just the idea of that challenge was like, that is what I want. And so respect to Kristaps. Glad that he decided to come to the Celtics. He's obviously made a huge impact, and it's cool to hear some of the reasons why he wanted to come to Boston.
Yeah, I mean, he is finally getting a chance to contribute to a winning team. The Celtics entered the season as one of the title favorites, and then they got Drew Holiday, and then they really became the favorite. When they traded for Kristaps, they were still amongst that, and his decision to join the team came right after they were almost in the finals again for the second time in 2 years. And it was clear that they could use some extra help because they just weren't able to get over the finish line. Their playoffs, as far as they went in the playoffs, it was still a dreadful watch. It was a underwhelming performance overall. So it was clear that they could use a boost. From a player's perspective, that's almost a perfect situation. You're able to join a winning team. The team is clearly flawed, and you have the opportunity to be the quote-unquote missing piece and really win over a lot of casual fans, whether they're in the fan base or just league-wide, because the narrative will become, wow, Kristaps Porzingis really moves the needle for the Celtics. And it's continued to be that narrative this season because when he went out, things stalled a bit. They had a couple weird wins, bad loss to the Pacers in a game they really could have finished off, and they didn't. He's got an opportunity to really, really cement himself as a star in Boston. The fans really like him. His personality's great. His attitude's great. He's rubbed everyone in the correct way instead of the wrong way, like other players that have come here, maybe worn 11.
Just wonder where you're going with that.
Yeah. And, good start to Porzingis' tenure in Boston. And he really just fits well beside Tatum and Brown. He doesn't need the ball a whole lot to be effective. He's someone that can play very much into the flow of the game. It's awesome. He's the perfect fit. He's someone that is getting rewarded for his lack of neediness, and the fan base loves it. He loves it. The team loves it. The team's been successful.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you got your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, we talked about it even before the season. This dude has not stopped smiling since he got on the team.
True.
He's just one big grin. One big, yeah, man, it's fucking great. He's like, I'm always open. These guys.
He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I
spot.
don't see doubles every time up the floor. Or, oh my God, I don't have to play next to Melo or Luka Doncic and watch them dribble.
Like,
Or
we were
Kuzma.
watching the Knicks. We were watching the Knicks game last night, and it was a lot of, oh, go here, and then they get Kristaps in the post on at the free throw line on a smaller defender, and I remember Sam just going, oh no, yeah, that's the right play, because then he would literally just, this is him, he gets the ball, turn around and just like flicks it up in the air, like there's no wasted motion.
It's so effortless for him. It's never a force.
No,
almost every single look that you see Porzingis take is a good look. He's the perfect insert for safety net purposes guy ever. I love it. I love to watch it. I have faith every time he shoots the ball. It looks like he's taking a good look. There's never any dribble, step back kind of plays from him. Very rarely you're like, damn, he probably should have moved that. It usually doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean,
he's a good mover without the ball.
mhm. Agree. And all this is, I mean, we've talked about it into the ground, but like, it is truly incredible how he's helped develop Jaylen Brown's game. Like, he's completely changed the way he's played. Like, we did a whole video on the two-man game. I wrote about the two-man game with Jake Issenberg first to the floor. It is one of the biggest storylines of the Celtics season, and now you're seeing it translate into Jaylen Brown being able to make plays for others, which is something like a lot of people got on him for over the years for not being able to do. And so to hear him saying, you know, the way I play with JT, the way I play with JP, I do want to see him do some of that with JT more often, though, because it doesn't seem like he plays with JT like that as much. And I mean, as much as Jaylen Brown and him have developed this awesome chemistry, if it's that good with JB, probably gonna be pretty good with Tatum too, right? Like I just like to see it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit more than we have. But
I think it's a good point. I mean, Tatum with the ball in the pick and roll is a major threat. He can shoot, he can drive, he has the vision to not only hit the roll man, but to hit whoever the rotation leaves open. He's done a great job at adjusting and doing that this season and over the past couple seasons. It's what's helped him go to the next level, and it's what we're seeing Jaylen Brown start to dip his toe into to help bring his game to the next level. So all of these things, along with Porzingis' ability to be the roll man, to be the pop, to relocate to the correct spot without the ball, makes the top of this team so much more dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, not enough good things can be said about Porzingis this season. He's truly been, I would argue, the most impactful player in terms of how they've played year to year. Like he's completely changed the way they play offense. He's great on the defensive side too. His presence inside, we saw them really miss it over those few games. And another piece that you talked about a lot, like his passing. That dude can find guys. Like he'll be getting it in the high post and he'll kick it all the way to the corner. Like he is somebody that I know you said they should use him like Jokic more. Like that is the dangerous tool to have with him, especially for zone breaking purposes once the playoffs come around. But okay. Next thing we have is a former Celtic who we both love, who we tried to get on the podcast for years, never worked out. Isaiah Thomas is eyeing an NBA return. This is per Matt Issa of Forbes. Thomas was talking about his NBA aspirations, said, I'm still trying to play the game of basketball. I want to get back in the NBA, so I'm still working out and I'm still staying ready. Now, I just don't see if it's going to happen. Like, I would love it, and I do think he can bring something to a team, but unfortunately, I feel like the line of let's sign Isaiah Thomas versus let's just take a chance on a young guy is, you know what I'm saying? Like, what team do you think could use Isaiah Thomas right now? Genuinely.
Off the top of my head, it's really hard because when we really go through and we're like, well, where could Peyton Pritchard go and be an impact player? It's kind of hard to say. And Pritchard has 5 inches on Isaiah Thomas. He's at the prime of his career in terms of his physical abilities. His body should be at the peak it will ever be. Isaiah's in his 30s now. He's not at that stage of his playing career. And he's going to get picked every single time down the floor on defense as the target. It's one thing that hurt him when he was at the top of his game. When the Celtics were the 1 seed, teams targeted him every chance they got in the playoffs. It made things very hard on the Celtics. He's somebody that just kind of got screwed by the way the skill level of almost everybody on the floor has risen. Just about everybody can handle the ball now. Everybody can drive. Everyone can create. Everyone can play make. They don't need a guard per se anymore. There's really not a lot of guys under 6 feet in the league. How many players in the league right now are under 6 feet and playing substantial minutes? Probably like 0.
I can look that up right now. That's actually
I don't know how you find it, but I mean, just trying to think. Ish Smith, how tall is Ish Smith? 6 feet, 6'1". Van Fleet, 6 feet.
Okay, let's see. If I go to bios and sort by height, there are currently 2 players in the NBA that are sub 6 foot. One is Marquise Noel, who is on the Raptors, who murdered the G League. He was very good. And then Jacob Gilliard, who played against the Celtics on the Grizzlies because they've had a ton of injuries. Jacob Gilliard is 5'8", and Marquise Noel is 5'7". So they are significantly shorter.
5'7" is crazy.
I'm pretty sure Marquise Noel has played well in his. I know he played really well in the summer league. Now I'm curious about G League. He has played in 4 G League games, averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, 8.2 assists, 1.2 steals, 42% from the field, 38.5% from 3. This is just me going on a small tangent because I was curious because I know he played well at summer league. Summer league, 12 points, 6.8 assists, 3 rebounds. Didn't actually shoot particularly well, but he had a couple. Excuse me, a couple big games. But your point stands. There just aren't players that short anymore. And even looking at the players who are listed at 6 foot, it's like it's either you are a significant rotation player because you're good, or you're kind of falling out. Like Aaron Holiday, not really getting minutes. Chris Paul is a legend, obviously gonna play. Davion Mitchell out of the Kings rotation right now. Fred VanVleet, significant minutes. Ish Smith kind of plays a little bit. Jordan McLaughlin kind of plays a little bit. Jose Alvarado, Kyle Lowry, Mike Conley, like they are like talent. You see it there. They can shoot. They can do things. They've been in the league a while otherwise. So it's like
they're kind of grandfathered in.
Exactly.
Most of the people that you brought up that actually get minutes are grandfathered into the league. The only exception is Ish Smith, who's been around a while and just hasn't ever really stuck anywhere.
He's grandfathered in too. He's great.
He's grandfathered in, but he's still not like eating up a ton of minutes. Like LaMelo's in a different way. Part of why he's
yeah. When you say grandfathered in, I more mean like they've built up a good enough reputation where teams will sign them. Like that is what I'm thinking of, and that is what Ish Smith is.
I mean, these new guys, it's very hard for them to impress teams as they come into the league. And I guess you could say Isaiah should be grandfathered in too, but he's been out of the league. Why would you go after Isaiah? This is a full circle speech, but why would you go after him if you can take a 6'2", 6'3" guard that you might want to develop? I don't always love you have to develop every single guy. You have to burn roster spots on developmental guys. But in that case, it doesn't feel like you're going to get enough to where it's worth bringing him on. And I love Isaiah. I would love to have him up on the Celtics to be an end-of-the-bench guy and kind of have him ride along for the potential title run that they could put together this year. I think he kind of deserves the nod, like for his service here for a couple of years. But aside from that, it's really hard to make an argument from a real basketball standpoint.
And for what it's worth, a lot of those guys we mentioned, Jose Alvarado, Mike Conley, Kyle Lowry, like Fred VanVleet even, not great defenders, but they're the guys that will try. They're the guys that will scrap. They will do all the little things to like be a pest on that side of the floor. Let me read you some free agents right now at the point guard position. Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic, DJ Augustine. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, so like there is.
You don't really think of those things when you think of those guys.
Exactly. Right. Like there are certain guys who can be small and also make an impact. The guys that are free agents are probably the guys that aren't going to play much defense. Like Austin. I mean, Austin Rivers plays some defense, but he's not even in the league, right? Terrence Davis isn't on a team right now. Will Barton isn't in the league right now, right? Michael Carter-Williams, Trey Burke. You know those two guys are on the Capitans now? Michael Carter-Williams, Trey Burke, Juan Toscano-Anderson, all on the Capitans with Kenneth Faried.
What an absolute hoss of a G League team to be able to go watch if you live in Mexico City. Juan
Toscano-Anderson from Mexico too, so he's that's fun. I think it's fun. Conclusion: don't really think Isaiah's going to make a return. I just don't think it's in the cards anymore. How old is Isaiah Thomas right now?
33, 34. Drafted in 2011. It's been 13 seasons.
34, turns 35 February 7th. I just don't see it happening.
These small guys also just don't last as long. I mean, just look at Kemba Walker. He's 6 feet. Perfect. He's playing in Europe and he's averaging like 3 points. He just doesn't have anymore. When you lose your athleticism, you lose your burst. There's not other ways you can impact the game. That's your whole card to get into the league. It's your whole ticket. You don't have it.
Yeah.
At least with like somebody like a big guy, Al Horford, he's not playing out of the post and dominating and impacting the game that way anymore. But he can sit out there and shoot threes and then play defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I if I'm him, I'm getting into the coaching instead because I think he'd be a good coach somewhere. He's got the personality for it. But all right, let's save the other thing we had and get into the emails and rock on if that's good with you. Yes. All right, cool. Let's get into the emails. Let me mark the timestamp here. It sucks because I only have one monitor, and so I'm trying to like flip back and forth.
Having to do this on a laptop versus the home setup is not
It's
as easy for putting the show together.
Not as easy, but we got 2 emails today. What's poppin'? Make sure to comment what's poppin' on this podcast. If you'd like to get yourself a chance to win some popcorn. Also, I forgot to mention this at the start, just briefly. We might be trying some new thumbnails. So if you are a loyal listener, which most loyal listeners do listen to this point, make sure to check our page at How About Them Celtics for the videos every day. Or just the thumbnails might look different when they pop up in your YouTube home screen. So just a heads up. We're still posting every day. We might try some things, get the views rolling a little bit, get the casuals in here. Help us out a little bit. From RJ, what's popping a day in the life? Welcome to the West Coast time, guys. I hope your bodies have adjusted by now, or at least you've caught up on your sleep. On the first Vegas pod, Jack mentioned another podcast he had to complete before he had any hope of resting, and it made me curious. We in HBTC land see the finished product you two young, hip, professional sports nerds put out, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. What do your average workday schedules look like? That's it for now. Be well, enjoy Vegas, be kind to the city's workers in turning down their offers, and stay hydrated. Tomato juice is great for that. I've got my water here. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, I got my damn seltzer water. It's saving my life.
Day in the life for work. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go?
Yeah, so when I work hybrid. So when I'm at home, it's flexible. I can kind of do some stuff. If we need to do Celtics work, it's easier. But in the middle of the week, I'll go in. So I have to get up early to exercise and all that. Get up at like 5, go in, 9 to 5 work, come home, play basketball, and then either do the pod or do the pregame, and then watch games if the game's on. Then we got to roll after. It's a very like tight knit next thing kind of schedule. It's not a lot of free time, not a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, all my work is freelance. So I write for Celtics blog, I write for Bulls Wire of USA Today, Spurs Wire of US Today, and Pacers, which is 8.9 seconds, 8.9 seconds, I should say, for Fansided. So for me, I stay up late, wake up late, but that's needed so I can cover the late games. I try to do. It's been hard because of Vegas and like the Celtics schedule, but I try to do at least like 1, 2, 3, or like 4 to 8 articles a day, across all the sites. We record obviously whenever my schedule's more flexible. So whenever Sam gets home, we rock. And then I usually, so for shorter pods, so like the videos, daily videos, those usually take like 20 minutes to max. No, usually around 20 minutes to edit and get uploading. The longer pods usually take about an hour because it's a lot of timestamps and the finding those, and then uploading the audio as well, making the thumbnail. Past that, it's just like if there's a Celtics game, it gets more difficult, or practice or stuff, because I'm going to the game at like 3-ish and getting back at like 1:30 a.m. And if there's practice, if it's like, say it's an 11 o'clock practice, I'll leave my house at 10 and I won't get back to like 2:33, 3:30. And then we rock, and then we record, and then I write articles. So it's pretty like, my schedule is definitely more flexible, but there's still a lot going on. It just depends on when I get the chance to do it. So yeah, thank you for the question. All right, next thing from RJ. What's poppin'? That's more like it, except for the ejection. This was after the Celtics Knicks games. Evening, guys. Fun game tonight in spite of the rabbit-eared ref. Tonight didn't feel like a strategy-fueled win, but more of a case where the team felt comfortable with each other. Porzingis looked really good to start, and everyone was flowing together into the game. It wasn't a case of extraordinary passes or highlight reel plays. More like nearly 48 minutes of guys playing solid basketball with off of one another. Sorry. White, Brown, and Holiday had more blocks between them, 4, than turnovers, 3. Keeping the turnovers down kept the Celtics in the flow of their games on both sides of the ball. Drew had maybe his most efficient offensive night as a Celtic, and Derek White continues to be the most amazing 101st best player in the NBA. Plain and simple. Heck, the Celtics even took a break from the third quarter blues tonight, increasing their lead from 9 to 14 points. Championship teams build the habits that get them in the habit of winning games, no matter who was stepping up at a particular time. Tonight's game felt like what champions do in mid-December: just win and move on. Be well, RJ. I agree for the most part. I think there were some slip-ups in there. Late in the third quarter, they slipped up a little, and it felt like the Knicks were hanging on just a bit too close for comfort throughout the fourth, but the Celtics did manage to keep them at bay, making some solid offensive plays and defensive plays. I was happy with the bounce-back win outside of the ejection, like you said.
Nobody loves to play like fire quite like the Celtics do. I think the Knicks got it to 7 or 8 at one point in the fourth quarter. It was a little bit too close, like you said. I will say this to RJ's point: them actually winning a third quarter, and they really won it by more points because for a while there they had a big lead. They were up 20? They pushed it to 20. Much better. I mean, it's really not that hard. I don't know why there is a hang up in the third quarter, why they can not seem to figure out how to build a lead regularly. There are so many situations this year they've made it either too hard on themselves or just hard enough that they lose, where it's frustrating. I mean, Monday's loss to the Pacers that kept them out of Vegas. Come out in the third quarter and absolutely melt. I think they lost by double digits, at least 14 off the top of my head. You just have to be better. Championship level teams playing in mid-December, to your point, yes, like the Knicks game, good example. Monday's game, not so much. They looked like a team that's not ready to compete in the big stage because they were on a semi-big stage and they melted.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was good progress. I thought the game was solid. Like you said, just felt like a good, solid win in the middle of December. Win, move on, quell the Knicks 3-0 in the season series. Sorry, Andrew. All right. Let's jump over to the NBA section. 30-38 as I mark it for the timestamp purposes. Let's check in with the standings. We briefly mentioned when we were talking about the Jaylen ejection that the Warriors Thunder game got a little bit wild because of the ejection, but the Thunder did end up winning the game and almost winning us some money, I should say.
We lost. We had plus minus 3.5, and they were up 4. And the Warriors did a layup at the buzzer, and kind of fucked us because it was a meaningless play.
Yep. Timberwolves have won 6 in a row. They're the best team in the NBA at 17-4. Celtics are at 16-5. In second place, Thunder, Mavs up there in the standings in the West as well, at 14-7, 13-8. Nuggets at 14-9, as are the Lakers. They're right there in it. Kings 2 at 12-8. That's really the pretty solidified top 6. Then it's the Suns at 12-10. East, Magic, Bucks tied at 2-3 at 15-7. The Sixers have gotten back on track a little bit at 14-7. Pacers at 12-8 now. They've won 3 in a row as they cruise through the in-season tournament. They're playing that game tonight, which we'll talk about because we haven't watched it yet, but we will, and we'll jump back in. Cavaliers won 3 in a row, figuring it out at 13-9. Knicks on a little bit of a skid, lost 2. Bulls have actually won 4 games in a row. And Sam, what's the constant in that 4 games?
Addition by subtraction. They don't have Zach LaVine out there self-sabotaging the Bulls. So when you give your guys an opportunity after they've been what is the word? Not it starts with an S. Suffocated. Suffocated for a while with shot selection and not really having the correct opportunities. And then they are actually free to play the way they are comfortable playing. It does wonders for the Bulls. And it also gives the Bulls a little bit to think about. It's like, well, which of these guys do we actually want to keep? Like, who's actually going to be a part of our future here in Chicago? And the answer is not Zach LaVine and probably not DeMar DeRozan, even though I think DeRozan has been a part of a couple of these wins. But overall, if you're a Bulls fan, you have to be excited because you're actually seeing some glimmers of hope from the players that you drafted that really, for the most part, haven't panned out the way you'd hoped. And they've brought you to 4 straight wins. So good for you. LaVine listed out for almost a month in the down the line, 3 to 4 weeks.
They're 4-1 without LaVine in the lineup.
Yeah, big shock there. Who could have told you that guy sucks?
Looking at the rest, Hornets just won a game. They're 7-13. They're pretty on par with the Bulls and the Raptors, but the Raptors and Hawks have both lost 3 in a row. He'd have lost 1. They're 12-10. Bottom of the West, meanwhile, Rockets 10-9. They did just beat the Nuggets in Denver, though. Their first road win of the season. The Nuggets' first home loss of the season. Pelicans lost 1, 6-4 in the last 10. Warriors still fumbling, 10-12, 4-6 in their last 10. Jazz are 7-15. The Grizzlies and the Timberwolves both at 6-15. Grizzlies 4-6 in their last 10, which is somehow better than where they were at before. Clippers have won 3. They're 11-10. They're pretty average. But the real story, Sam, is the Wizards, the Pistons, and the Spurs. Because I believe, was it who boasted the stat? Was it Brick Muse?
Brick Muse. I think they're a combined 1-49 over the past month or so.
1-48.
1-48, and the only win amongst the bunch is when Washington and Detroit matched up against each other. So that was an automatic win for the group. Aside from that, they have literally lost every single game. Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma cannot lead this team to anything hopeful. The Pistons continue to just kind of flop around and act like
Monty
fish out of
Williams.
water. Monty Williams apparently
Jesus.
stuck in his ways and not willing to change after getting the bag. And then the Wemby-led Spurs not doing a whole lot, sadly. Who'd they lose? They lost to Chicago yesterday.
Yeah. Bad. Very bad. 19 games in a row is crazy. Like, what is the longest losing streak in NBA history?
It's got to
Do you
be
know?
that process Sixers team that went
Or
10
the
and
Bobcats.
72. Well, the Bobcats had a short season.
True. Almost, can I find this? Is Stat Muse not going to help me out there?
I think it's
What
30,
is the
30 something
longest?
games.
I believe you. 28 games.
28
Sixers,
games.
16, 15, 16. Or wait. Okay, wait. 28 games from the end of the 15-16 season through the start of the 16-17 season. That's across 2 seasons. In a single season. What is the longest one? 26. So, they're cooking.
Could
Hey,
be
listen.
approaching history.
That's what I'm saying. They might be losing. However, they are about to make history. Pistons are the first team to lose 20 of their first 22 games since the 15-16 Sixers. They are on par
Hurts.
with the 15-16 Sixers. Wow. That is it's impressive. It's impressive.
Got to
It is
trot
tied for
Peyton
the
out
fourth.
there to save the season.
I would love Peyton. All right. Let's so we're recording the bulk of this before the in-season tournament game between the Lakers and the Pacers, but we do want to talk about it just for a couple minutes at least. So we are going to throw it over to our future selves to cover that game very briefly right now. All right, we are back after the in-season tournament finals where the Lakers took down the Pacers. It's still going on right now. There's 2 minutes left, but the Lakers are up 13. So we decided to come up here and record because, well, the Pacers are cooked. The game's over. They just couldn't do it. Anthony Davis killed him on the glass. He killed them scoring. LeBron James got whatever he wanted. Miles Turner fouled out. Tyrese Halliburton was fine, but they blitzed him on every possession, and no one else on the Pacers decided to give him much help. Benedict Mathurin and Aaron Nesmith had 18 and 15 respectively. However, it doesn't matter when Anthony Davis has 39 points and 20 rebounds. LeBron has 24 and Austin Reeves has 24 off the bench. Lakers win the first ever in-season tournament in the NBA Cup, and the Pacers fell short, and Sam is very mad.
Mickey Mouse tournament. Pacers really got a lot of poor performances across the board. Miles Turner not very good on either end of the floor, 3 of 11. They relied heavily on him to try and defend Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis went off. Not enough shots for Halliburton. I mean, I'm not going to break this down like a Celtics game, but listen, the one takeaway from this is the Lakers shot 13 threes and made 2 of them and are about to blow them out.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, it was just not a very good game from the Pacers. They couldn't keep them out of the paint. Lakers got whatever they wanted, and I don't really have any more thoughts. It sucks to see Pacers go out like this. I was rooting for the Pacers. They're a fun team. Tyrese Halliburton's cool. You wish they would have brought a little more juice to the finals, but the Lakers came to play. They've been trying really hard all tournament. They've obviously wanted this, and it ended up working out well for them. So tough, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. I mean, we don't have to go too long on this. Any final thoughts you got?
The fuck was I going to say? I don't even remember. No, I don't know. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Right. That's all right. Well,
important.
in that case, we'll kick it back over to our past selves for the rest of the show. All right. Hopefully, we are hyped up about a Pacers in-season tournament victory and not having Sam be angry that LeBron James won the first ever in-season tournament.
If he did,
but-
you'll never hear the end of it. But if he did, just know
Mhm.
the tournament's Mickey Mouse, which I'm sure I'll tell you later, or I already told you.
Unless the Pacers won, then it's not Mickey Mouse.
If the Pacers win, it's only a little Mickey Mouse.
Fine tournament. But we're going to talk about another one of Sam's favorite topics, Mr. Zion Williamson, because per Christian Clark, I believe, what is Christian Clark read for? NOP.com. Pelicans. I just want to get the website correctly. He writes he's a Pelicans beat reporter who writes for NOLA.com, NOLA.com. He said Williamson's poor work ethic has been a source of frustration for the Pelicans since they drafted him with the first overall pick in 2019. Pelicans have tried to surround Williamson with veterans who have track records of maximizing their potential. They signed Redick in 2019. 2022, they traded for CJ McCollum. None of it's made an impact. Pelicans have repeatedly stressed to Williamson that his diet and conditioning needs to improve. Williamson, multiple team sources have told the Times-Picayune, doesn't listen. His trainer went to Instagram and posted that quote or whatever and said, shrug emoji, like, don't know what to say. And then another picture when he was with him of Zion in shape and said, would you look at that? Like the good old days. This guy is something.
Zion is very easy to hate. Not only is he given some of the most incredible athleticism a lot of us have ever seen, but he's a prick to the team that drafted him. He clearly never wanted to be in New Orleans. He's expressed and hinted at multiple times wanting to leave, whether it's for the Knicks or you saw the video with him talking to the Bulls assistant from a year ago. And then he refuses to give the Pelicans his best effort by keeping himself in shape. Instead, he's sitting there slamming back Mountain Dews, eating all the fried food after signing a, $150, $80 million dollar extension to stay with the team. So he's getting paid. He signed his NBA contract, not really a contract with the Pelicans, because he can just turn around and be like, hey, trade me or I'm not going to play. And I don't think anyone would be like, wow, I really think Zion loves the game so much that he's going to want to play. So he's going to end up requesting a trade out of there. And the Pelicans have put a good team around him. They are trying. They were top of the West last year when he was actually healthy. The team this year went to the semis of this tournament. And why'd they lose? Because him and Brandon Ingram might have been out gambling and partying in Vegas the night before. And Zion was clearly out of shape. It was the whole talk of the game. People couldn't believe how fat he looked out on that court. I mean, if you're a Pelicans fan, you have to start to hate this guy. It can't be a fun guy to root for. He clearly doesn't care if he's helping the team win or fulfilling his duties with his maximum contract, rookie extension, whatever it is. It's awful. If I was a Pelicans fan, I would hate Zion.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to. I mean, I usually try to be the optimist and say, well, maybe this is pretty damning. This is a pretty damning quote. There's nothing he can do. This is bad. Yeah, that's all I got. We can move on. Yeah, I'm just gonna let you rock with that. And Zion fat, you were correct.
Zion fat. I was on the Zion fat train forever. Last season, I said I don't think I've ever seen a player recover from being fat. We still haven't seen Zion fully get back out there and actually help the Pelicans be a winning team. Instead, he's out there laughing before the semifinal with Brandon Ingram. He's getting roasted and called out by the organization and his former trainer. And then this video surfaces of him saying he wants to, or being prompted on wanting to play for the Bulls. I mean, what a terrible investment of a top pick from the Pelicans. And believe me, at the time, it was a no-brainer move. Like, you can't blame them. But in hindsight, I mean, would Ja have been much better? I guess yes, because he's actually been on the court for the bulk of his career, and he's just now starting to get into trouble. But they really, really must look back on that and been like, damn, we could have got Ja, who has made Memphis a competitive and fun team. And again, New Orleans has put players around him. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas has been excellent for them. They drafted well. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, all contributors to that team. Alvarado, somebody they like off the bench. That's a competitive roster. If you put a lot of other superstars around the league on that team, they would be successful and they'd be fun to watch. Instead, you have Zion who can't even get on the court because he's not putting his body in position to be out there consistently. It's disgusting stuff. If I was a Pelicans fan, I'd be beside myself.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Speaking of somebody Sam doesn't like, Kyrie Irving got hurt last night in the Mavericks game against the who did the Mavericks play last night?
They
against
played
the Blazers.
Portland.
Kyrie was on the ground. Dwight Powell came flying in for a rebound and landed on him, on his leg. It looked really bad. He didn't fly home with the Mavericks. He stayed in Portland to get it checked out. He was in a wheelchair. However, per Shams test show, Shams Charania of The Athletic, test show Dallas Mavericks star Kyrie Irving has a heel contusion, avoiding substantial injury after Dwight Powell landed on his right leg. Irving is beginning treatment on the heel, and there is no timetable for his return. Regardless of your thoughts, this was a scary injury. This looked really bad when you watch the video.
I'm glad it wasn't me. I would not want to be laying there as a 7-foot tall guy falls right on my lower leg. But looks like Kyrie dodged a bullet, didn't really get severely injured. Not to the degree he could have been by any means, which is good for him, good for Mavs fans. But, man, what a sequence this was. Just,
it looks so bad looking at it. He just
looking at it, I didn't think it looked that crazy. Like, I still don't think it looks that crazy. To me, the only knee jerk, I think this went wrong, is I thought he might have hyperextended his knee. You don't see anything bend where it's not supposed to bend.
I do think the heel gets caught a little bit into the ground. I don't know. It's just anytime you got a 7-footer falling from that high into your leg, it's like hopefully everything's intact.
The biggest risk is hyperextending the knee there and probably pulling something in the back of your leg because you bent you had to pull quick on your hamstrings.
Yeah, but he's all right. All right, next thing we have is the New York Knicks. So Andrew gets a little bit of a chance to talk about the Knicks.
Talk about how they lost.
Per Fred Katz of The Athletic, the Knicks or other teams around the league are eyeing Immanuel Quickley for a potential trade. Katz also said that the Knicks could attack Quickley, Grimes, and Evan Fournier and get a player back that's worth just above $20 million. My response to this: why are you trading Quickley for he's good? No, am I crazy? What is
good for them? He fits in the 6-man role. Maybe they think to themselves, well, if we trade Quickley, there's more room for other guys to come off the bench. Like they have Brunson, so they really don't need to rely on the backup guard spot too much. They would prefer to have Brunson out there as much as they can in the playoffs. They also probably like DiVincenzo, Grimes, and Josh Hart, who can all fill that 2-guard role, even though Hart plays forward a lot. But I don't know. Who are you really getting back for $20 million?
Would you do OG?
Not if I'm the Raptors.
Would you do Quickley, Fournier, and 3 firsts for OG?
I don't know. We talked about the Knicks first the last time, and I wasn't overly impressed. So, and Ujiri is the stingiest GM out there, so I don't think that gets.
Yeah, but 3 firsts are 3 firsts. I mean, he wanted 3 firsts from the Grizzlies too.
But then you also have to turn around as the Knicks and be like, well, I don't want to give up 3 firsts for OG.
I don't know. I don't hate it. I think it would make them better overall. I guess the fit would be better. I'm trying to look around the league and see who else would be.
If you do that, do you slide RJ to shooting guard and then OG the small forward? Is that what you would do?
Yeah, and then you can just bring Dante DiVincenzo or Josh Hart off the bench, and then rock from there. Is Kuzma really that guy? Is that I'm just looking at guys who you could trade. I don't know who I'd want to trade Quickley for.
But I don't know if I'm trading Quickley for him. Absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like. Do you
is Quickley expiring at the end of this year? They failed to come to an extension agreement with him, right? Or did they pay him?
Yeah, he needs a new extension this summer. I don't think the Nets are trading anybody of interest, right? I don't think they're going to be giving anything up. You go after DeAndre Hunter. I'd rather OG at that point. Siakam, but then you got run into the clash. DeRozan, I'm not giving up Quickley for. Levine, I'm not giving up Quickley for. Caruso, I'm not giving up Quickley for. I don't know, man. It's just weird, especially Quickley and Grimes and Fournier. I'm just it just doesn't.
For the Knicks, I don't know if I give up Quickley for Caruso. To your point, I was thinking, I don't know, Caruso's really good, but he does the same stuff as Josh Hart and Grimes and
I'd rather try to get away with just giving up
DiVincenzo.
picks, is what I'm saying. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't like the trade quickly angle. I'm not a fan. Speaking of trades, the Indiana Pacers are reportedly interested in trading for a two-way wing. This was reported by, I got to scroll all the way down the sheet because I have one monitor. Woj reported Pacers have been aggressive in trying to trade for that big athletic two-way player that they need to build out this roster with Halliburton as a centerpiece. He named Siakam and Anunoby as possible targets. Said the Pacers, quote, are willing to give up picks and assets to acquire players because of the organization's confidence in its chances to re-sign them. If I'm the Pacers, I'm all in on OG. Siakam maybe not as much because he's on a one-year deal on the wrist, but like both of those guys would be really, really, really good for that Pacers team.
I think OG's the better fit. He's someone that needs the ball a lot less. I think that it's not a crazy storyline if he ends up there. It's something that was discussed over the summer from what we heard.
They wanted to give
the
up
Pacers were
the
kind of
8th
in
pick
on
for
him
him.
and prodding at the Raptors, and the Raptors wouldn't do it. The Pacers do have Jarris Walker just kind of hanging out. He's not really playing a whole lot of minutes. I don't know what else you would really throw at them, but maybe they could get Ujiri to let go of OG. Maybe. That's a tough task. I don't think Ujiri wants to sell light on OG and Anunoby. We have not heard his interest being piqued very much. But if he was to join the Pacers, I think it would be a great fit. He would be another good wing for them. He's strong. He can play both sides of the ball just like they're looking for. And we've seen the Pacers beat some really good teams here early in the season, beat the Celtics, beat Milwaukee. Hopefully they beat the Lakers, who are kind of a good team, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't buy into them as much as the other two, that's for sure, even from an unbiased perspective. But it would be fun to see Halliburton get some help. It would be even more fun if they were in the Western Conference, but they're not. So I don't know if I want to root for it too hard. I'd rather have both teams just be kind of incomplete. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like both of them for them. I don't know who else they could go after for those wings. I think those are really the two ones. Mikal Bridges would be perfect, but I don't think Nets are going to give him up. There's nobody really that fits that bill, and it's the really bad teams. Yeah, I think it's just those two in Toronto that you're going after. I think Caruso would be an okay fit. It might be a little awkward, but like I think he'd help them. Markkanen, if they can get him out of Utah, but I don't think Utah's selling. It's really just those Toronto guys, in my opinion. Paul George, if the Clippers blow it up, that'd be super fun.
How
to
great
return
of
to
a
Indiana.
defender is Markkanen, really?
Not super great, I don't think, but he's definitely longer, and he would significantly upgrade an offense that's already elite. Like, imagine him in that offense. Nuts.
Yeah, that's not what they want. Paul George would be
I'm
funny
not-
if he went back to the Pacers, but that won't happen because the
No.
Clippers are too far in to sell anybody. They've sold
That
their
would be kinda
soul to
sick,
James
though.
Harden.
That would be
Foolish.
very cool. I would love if he went there. Well, maybe not for the Celtics' sake, but I think it'd be
Nope.
fun. All right, let's move on to the rat list. Wrap up here. Get cooking.
Good.
You want to go first?
Yeah, rat list, the air here. So the air
Yes.
is not like low quality, but it's dry. It's dry compared to how it is in New England. There's not a lot of humidity here. Jack had to purchase a $10 stick of chapstick. My throat is very dry. It feels like I'm sick, as if I have a scratchy throat, but I'm not sick. I don't feel
That's
any
been me the
other
whole trip.
sickness. Well, you always have like a cough or something.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, and I do feel the chapped lips a little bit. I don't think I'm as bad as Jack is, but I have a feeling of it. I went running today. I could feel it when I was outside for a prolonged amount of time. Again, my throat is not feeling fantastic. It feels fine. I can talk, but it's not as fun to talk. So that's the number one rat list, is that there's just dry air here.
Mm-hmm. Agree. My number one, not close. People who walk slow.
Yes.
It's a
Good pick.
plague here. Sam has seen. So there's four of us here: me, Sam, and two of Sam's friends, Devin and Matt the Rat. I commonly walk ahead because we are stuck.
As you should.
Boom, boom. It is painstakingly slow. How the speed that these people walk. It is
Sometimes
horrendous.
they just stop.
Yeah, it's truly unacceptable. They need to be jailed. They need to not be allowed to walk.
Maybe shoved in the back of the head.
It's bad. No, jailed. Not jailed. Gone. It's so bad. Like especially so we walked through a construction zone today, and there was one lane. Awful. I was getting so mad all day. It pissed me off. Rat list. Walk faster. Dude, don't be a fucking loser.
Rat list. Rat list, the guy with the fucking snake on the side of the street. I kind of forgot about him till just now. So on the strip, there's all kinds of people on the street trying to get your attention, whether doing magic tricks or they got the ladies out there wearing not a lot and trying to get you to take a picture with them, or the guys wearing not a lot, or the guys wearing a lot dressed as characters. Then you have this fucker with the snake around his neck, and he's like, hey, like, come play with the snake. And I'm petrified of snakes. I don't think Jack likes snakes either. That should be fucking illegal. Keep that fucking snake away from me in the general public. I don't want to see a snake. When I was in 6th grade, they had like the reptile people come in with all like the iguanas and whatever they fucking bring. They bring a snake in the bag. I went and I left. I went to the bathroom. I wasn't coming out. I don't want to deal with the snake. The snakes are fucking terrifying. It's the most terrifying thing I think there is.
Our friend Devin was out and said he got chased by the snake guy.
Dude, you should be able to hit the snake guy if he chases you.
Bad. It was real bad.
Or like mace him.
I don't love I don't like the snake guy either. So we went to Jim Jeffries last night. Very funny.
Excellent show. Fantastic show. Jim Jeffries fucking murdered. It was great.
Mm-hmm. One of the opening guys, I forget his name and I feel bad, but he comes out. He's telling a joke. And he's standing there, and he's trying to think of his next jokes, and he's a bigger guy. He just goes, fat, like just like, yeah, like owning up to it. He goes, fat, and he goes, don't really care that I'm fat, don't have any interest in not being fat, fine being fat. And he goes, women still sleep with me even though I'm fat. Why would I run? And I've never felt more of a better person than Sam than in that moment. I felt validated. It gave me like, you know what? Yeah, fuck running.
Gave you like hope.
Yeah, but not hope. What do you mean a hope? It makes me sound like a fucking charity case. But perhaps the best part of the show was the man on the scooter.
Don't give away any material. I don't think you're going to, but I mean, this is just something that happened.
You tell it. That's all I was gonna say. I was just there. Should I tell the story? I don't want to give away material, but like,
no, it's not really the story. It's just So he's doing his set, and this guy who was on an electric scooter decided he wanted to leave the show, and to leave the show, he had to back up. And when he was backing up, the scooter was beeping, and it interrupted the comedian's set. And it was some of the greatest just improv off the top of the head stuff I've ever seen. It was excellent. I laughed so fucking hard. And it was like the timing of it, like what he was talking about, like everything was just perfect. It made for a tremendous like 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah. It was great. Jim Jeffries killed it. He was great. Ratlist Cowboys.
Yeah.
So unbeknownst to us, the NFR was in town this season. I still don't know what NFR stands for. Do you know what it stands for?
No.
All you need to know is that it's a rodeo. And so all we've seen this weekend is fucking cowboys. All the hats, all the shit, all that going on. They've been here the whole time. They've been up and down the strip. A lot of cowboys. It's just that's it. That's the whole rat list. It's your rat list Cowboys. Not a fan of the Cowboys.
There's too many of them. Jack doesn't like the Cowboys. Rat list the blackjack table today. Very difficult experience. Now, there's nothing wrong with losing at blackjack. When you lose at blackjack, it happens. Oftentimes, if I lose at the table, I still have a good time. Like, it's an enjoyable experience. But this was just not enjoyable. There was not even any light at the end of the tunnel. There was no hope given. There was nothing. It was 6, 16. It was 15, 13, 12s against a 10. And then every time the dealer had a bust card, there was a 10. There was not a 10 underneath, and they ended up getting 20 or 21. It was just a ruthless session at the table. I played a while. I didn't get cleaned right away, but it was a disgusting, maybe 20, 30 minutes, whatever we sat there for. It was painful. It was one of the least enjoyable sessions I've ever played at. And we both
I was
lost.
also at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we both lost. It was bad, very bad. I'm trying to think if I have any more rat list. I think that's pretty good. I don't know if I have anything else. I feel like there's more,
my
but
head.
I can't. I think that about covers it, though.
Yeah, I don't have anything right now.
I think that's good. All right. Well, in that case, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you very much. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Again, we might be testing out different thumbnails over the coming week or so, or 2 weeks. So make sure to check our page. We're still posting every day. So if you don't see a video pop up in your feed or you don't recognize one, check the page. Video will be there. Don't worry about it. Thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Leave us a review on Apple, please. And I'll let Sam wrap it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. Don't miss any of our uploads. We do these pods, game recaps, reaction videos, trade rumor things. The pregame streams are a half hour before every single game. They're a blast. Make sure you join and hang out. It's always a lot of fun. You can also find the full-length pods and game recaps on Spotify and Apple. If you just want the audio versions of those, you can follow on both of those platforms. Leave a nice 5-star review for us. You can also find us if you want to get in touch with us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can find all pregame streams there as well. You can follow Jack on Twitter at JackSimoneNBA. You can follow me at Sam France NBA. That's it for us, guys.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.